Chapter 14. A Masterpiece. With a full belly and a new wrap on her wrist at Selena's insistence, it did not take long for Lanoya to finish outlining the bricks. She slid her wall drawing into the dimly lit hallway. She stood staring at the door leading down to the mysterious room. How do I hang this up? The picture she had torn rested next to the door. She placed it face down on the ground. I think I can use the same frame or hook as the old one. The old fabric appears to be nailed into place. How do I get this off? Cut or tear the old picture? I cannot ask the teachers for help. Who else do I know? Eustace will not leave the gate, and Sabine will try to give me a bath and put me in some new horrible dress. Her eyes lit up and she grinned. Edmond, he lives alone in the stables, and he hates the teachers as much as I do. I know he ran off before, but there are no teachers around this moot. He has to help me again. She passed the other paintings on her way out. None of these matches the wall. She shook her head. I know they are all supposed to be walls, but if I didn't know that, I would not have any idea what a couple of those drawings were. Anyone would see right away those are not real. I hope mine is harder to spot. If it is not good enough, it will not stop the teachers from finding me. Lanoya ran outside to the stables and found Edmond sleeping inside. She shook him. Edmond rolled over and half opened his eyes. I thought those teachers locked you up for good. She shook her head. No, not yet. That is why I need your help. I need to put up my wall on the old frame and hang it up so they cannot find me. Edmond sat up and squinted at her. You are not making any sense. Lanoya grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the door. Please, you have to help me. You are right. They are trying to control me and steal my energy. They will not let me leave alone. They will not let me leave. I think that's supposed to say they will not leave me alone. If I can hang the wall, I may have a place to hide. Edmond stumbled out of the stables and followed Lanoya to the chapel. Hang a wall? I know I'm half asleep, and right now I am hoping this is a strange dream, because hanging a wall does not make any sense. Lanoya shouted back at him, Quit mumbling and hurry up. We have to finish before anyone sees us. Edmond entered the chapel and caught up to Lanoya, bending over the old frame. How do we get this painting off so we can put mine on it? He knelt down next to it. We can put yours over the old one. He lifted it up and saw the tear in it. Lanoya shook her head. No one will mess with mine. No, the old one will mess mine up. He tugged at the tear. We can rip off the old one. She shook her head. I think Lady Melusa said it has power in the drawing. I'm not sure what ripping it further will do. Edmond dropped the frame and jumped back. Power in the drawing? Lanoya raised her voice. Careful, you will mess up my drawing. Edmond searched the floor for a painting, and his eyes opened wide. There is a wall on the floor. How is there a wall on the floor? She rolled her eyes. I told you, I drew it. Now I need your help to put it on the frame and hang it up. Edmond's voice shook. You are one of them? Teacher Devon was telling the truth? You tricked me. Lanoya furrowed her eyebrows. What are you talking about? I've been drawing my whole life. I do not have to come here to learn how to do it. You said they would try to control me, and they are. I am trying to hide from them, not become one of them. He grimaced. If I help you hang this drawing, will you promise not bother me again? She shook her head. No, you are the only person I sort of trust and believe. If I need something, you are the first person I will bother for it. He let out a half-hearted chuckle. Great. A learner studying to become a teacher wants me to be her assistant. Do you have any idea how much trouble you will get us both into? Lanoya glared at him. I do not want to be a teacher. We will not get into any trouble, not if we hang it up before anyone sees. If Edmond believes it is a wall, the teachers will also. She chuckled to herself. I will be free of them, and I can examine the stones and see what Lady Kitesse was talking about. This might work after all. Edmond stepped back. You are one of them. You say you are not, but I can see it in you. Lanoya stood up and growled. No, I am not one of them. She pointed to the door. I have to cover up that entrance, so I will have a place to hide from them. I have to see the stones in the basement. I have to know what they are, and you will not be able to understand that. Her voice softened. Please, I have to do this, and I need your help. Edmond sighed. You know they are watching us. They could stop us if they wanted to. They could help you if you let them. Lanoya's mouth opened wide. You want me to let them help me? You are the one that said they would try to control me. Edmond smirked. Yes, they can help you and control you. and whatever else they wish, and I can go back to sleep. Lanoya's bottom lip protruded out. I thought you were like me. You have no family, and neither do I. I have more in common with you than those stupid teachers. Edmond tilted his head back. Oh, all right. I will try to get this old drawing off, and you can find a stool. Lanoya grinned. Thank you, Edmond, thank you. She scurried back to the learning room and swung open the closet door. The stool from the previous sun was there, buried under some other supplies. Lanoya shook her head. I do not know why they would stack all these things on top of the stool. I could shove it all into the floor, but Lord Humby will yell at me. She beamed, unless, of course, he cannot find me. Lanoya yanked the stool, letting the other objects fall, and hurried back to the corridor. She halted in front of the door to the secret room. Edmond was gone. He left me to hang it myself? I should not have trusted him. If I cannot hang this by myself, I will have to spend my even throwing bricks over the wall. She hurled the stool at the line of easels and knocked the first drawing onto the ground next to hers. Lanoya stomped out of the chapel, tears burning down her cheeks. Edmond was the only chance I had of hiding from the teachers and exploring the mysterious stones. I should not have trusted him. He lied and did not help me. He's afraid of me, like I'm going to harm him with my ability to recreate my surroundings. He's a foolish, selfish boy. I am foolish for thinking he would care. No one cares. Lanoya passed the stables, picked up a stone, and climbed up her makeshift stairs. Now to figure out how to get it to land next to the wall, and in a position I can stack more stones on top of it. Edmond shouted up to her. I thought you wanted to hang a wall. Started, Lanoya dropped the stone without aiming it first. You left, so I was going to leave as well. Edmond chuckled. Great. I got this tool for nothing. I can go back to bed and can leave? He turned towards the stables. I think Teacher Devon is watching you. Good luck getting away without them finding you. Lanoya pursed her lips and climbed down to the ground. Why does everyone think Teacher Devon is watching me? He is nowhere to be seen. Edmond sighed and shook his head. You really do not know anything about the powers of the land, do you? She glared at him. No, I do not, and I do not care either. Edmond held up a flat metal object. Do you want me to use this to frame your artwork, or would you rather jump over the wall? Lanoya scowled. I was not going to jump. I was throwing bricks over to create stairs to climb down the other side. Edmond nodded. If you say so. She grabbed his wrist and marched back to the chapel. Hanging the drawing will be faster, and then I can hide inside. She stopped and stared at him. You will not tell anyone what I'm doing, will you? Edmond shook his head. I do not want to be a part of anything you or the teachers of powers are doing. I just want to get that thing hung up and go back to sleep. Once inside, Edmond removed the old torn painting from the frame. Lanoya stretched her masterpiece over the wood and meticulously folded the edges onto the back, leaving no wrinkles or bunches anywhere. She glanced at Edmond. I will hold it while you secure it, and make sure it does not get loose. I do not want anyone to see the edges or discover it's a drawing, not an actual wall. She smiled. My work is as good or as better than the old one, and that despicable old lady Melusa thought the old one was paint on an actual wall. Edmond stood up. All done. How was that? Lanoya surveyed his work and nodded. She stood the canvas up and brushed the dust from the front of it. It is perfect. Now how do we hang it up? Edmond smiled. That is the easy part. He placed the stool next to the door and stepped onto it. He towered over the top of the door frame. Hand it to me. I can see how it hooks on up here. She inched the drawing over to him. Her eyes focused on the gray thread he pulled out from the top of the canvas. A chill ran up her spine, and 3 mud-colored nails appeared above. They were hidden in between the bricks of the walls, the color matches. If Edmond were not hanging the strings on them, I would not have seen them. He pressed the picture into the door frame. Now it was part of the wall, with no sign that a door ever existed. Edmond jumped off the stool. Whoa! I do not think anyone will be able to find that again. Lanoya squeezed Edmond. Thank you so much. Now I have the perfect place to hide. He pushed her away. I am going back to the stables now. She nodded and ran past him to her room. Now I need a blanket, a few candles, and something to draw on. I will see if Teacher Lady Kitess was telling the truth about those symbols in the basement. And on the morrow sun, I will know whether or not the teachers can find me down there. All thoughts of escaping were replaced by her excitement at what she would find in the hidden room.